Welcome everybody to this webinar. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ellen. I'm a customer success manager at TheyDo. That basically means that I'm lucky enough to get to work with a lot of different organizations every day, and I get to work with them on building out their journey operations. Some of my customers might even be in this call. Hello, if you are. The goal of today is that we take a closer look at the potential benefits of rolling out journey management, at the ROI that it can bring. Who doesn't want to save 1.3 million with one customer journey? I won't be doing that alone. I will be joined by Lucy Stuyfzand from our partner Essence. Essence and TheyDo have been a partner since 2021. We have a shared passion for making organizations work more customer-centric, assisting them with that. Lucy, why don't you come on and join us?
Hi, everyone. Really nice to meet you all online. So thanks for the introduction, Ellen. My name is Lucy. I'm a senior service designer at Essense. And apart from that, I'm also the journey management lead at Essense. And that means that I have the honor to work with many of our clients to put journey management into practice and get the real impact out to the customers. I live in Amsterdam, so I'm fortunate enough to bike to work every day. Not everyone in this call will think that's a benefit, but for me, it really is. I'm also Dutch, so it's a benefit for me. And I'm really excited to be here today and share more about how to make business impact with journey management. So thanks for having me.
Great. We're very happy to have you. So, as we said, we want to shed some light on the benefits of adopting a journey-centric approach in your organization. For the business case, we will be switching to a recorded version of the business case. This to make sure that we can share all the information that we want to share as efficiently as possible, and also for confidentiality reasons to make sure we don't say things that we're not allowed to say. If you have any questions during the recording, feel free to just drop them either in the chat or the Q&A box at the bottom. We will be hosting a Q&A session after the recording. Thank you already for your attention. I'm just going to switch now.
All right, excited that we already met live just now, and look forward to speak to you further in the live Q&A after this presentation. I'm going to take you through the story of how to save 1.3 million in one customer journey by properly managing it. And I'm mostly going to show you how you can create this yourself, because that is what you are probably here for. Before I do that, I would like to tell you a bit more about who we are as Essense, and then we can dive into the exciting topic of journey management. We are a CX agency based in the Netherlands that organizes, implements and executes CX management at clients to create real business impact. And we do that with a variety of propositions, and I'm not going to deep dive into them now, but we work both with data-driven CX as well as building strategies and helping companies to assess their maturity and so on. Today, we're going to talk about how we help our clients to implement journey management, and mostly what the result is that if you do that properly. And we work for a variety of clients. And you can see here that there are both big and small. So journey management is also for all our clients. So and also for you, it doesn't really matter if you're a startup or a really large corporation. Journey management is really for all of you. So I hope that there's a good mix here, so we can have a good discussion later on how journey management can apply to you and how you can build your success. And in a sense, we are here because we see a lot of organizations where departments operate in silos. So what you might find is that the marketing department says, we are super customer centric. And then sales says, our top focus is the customer. And so do all the other departments. And they might be right. They might be working really hard to deliver a good customer experience. But because they're not aligned, they're still causing a fragmented experience that might not be so efficient or smooth for the customer. So what we want to do at Essense is basically help our clients to flip that around. So we want to say, you need to define what is it that you want to offer your customers in terms of experience, and then let that inform how you organize yourselves. And you need to do that on a few layers. So you need to align from the start your brand promise. So what is it that you promise your customers? To how does that translate to what journeys? So what propositions do you then offer to deliver on that promise? And what do the channels need to be in order to fit the journeys and deliver on that experience? And that should then inform how you as an organization organize yourselves. So you need an alignment on two axes. You need vertical alignment from brand promise to customer operations, and horizontal alignment to align how you deliver on your promise from beginning to end in the customer journey. And to make that view a bit more simple, we made a pyramid that we call our promise framework. So how you deliver on your promise from brand to customer operations. And that is also what we say, if you want to do proper CX management, you need to connect all these layers. So from brand promise to customer operations, let them inform each other how they build up to the excellent customer experience you want to offer. And journey management in this pyramid is actually the vehicle to connect these layers. Journey management is the dark green layer in the middle, where you translate your brand promise to the journeys, and then that informs how channels should be designed. So this is also why this topic is so exciting for me, because journey management is where the innovation gets out to the customer. So where you get to make real impact. And I'm really excited to talk more about that today. I'll start with a definition from our side about journey management, because I have seen that there are many definitions around. Some might be crystal clear to you, some might be a bit confusing. What I try to do is keep it really simple and just say journey management means continuously going through the triple diamond process. So continuously doing customer-centric innovations where it's needed in your proposition. And that's where it gets a bit more complex. So a few more words on that. Where it's needed is defined by where there's a clear indication your customer is facing a problem or the business results are unmet. And you need to look at where it's needed in your proposition. And I know that many organizations have a different way of looking at their proposition. You might view it through products or another way. But if you want to do journey management properly, you need to look at your proposition through journeys. So some of you might be familiar with a journey atlas or a journey framework, which is an overview of all the journeys that you have in your company. And then you need to use that to see where are we not meeting business results, or is the customer facing real problems, or a combination of both. So you need to use that journey view of your proposition to decide where do we need to apply the triple diamond. And if you apply this properly, you can create many success cases like this one. So this is an example of one journey that was properly managed, that is being properly managed, I should say, where we helped customers become much more self-reliant. So we really relieved the pain point for them to continuously hit a wall and not be able to serve themselves and solve their issues. And it had a big benefit to the company too, because it significantly lowered operational costs, and in this case, customer service calls. So they ended up saving 1.3 million every year now, just by implementing 4 really simple solutions. I can't, unfortunately, deep dive into what the solutions were, but believe me, they were not big future techie products. They were small things. And I actually also know that this number is still going down as a result. So how do you, everybody wants this, and you want not to have this once, you want to have this 20 times. So how do you do that? By going through the triple diamond. I hope some of you or most of you are familiar with it. If not, I'll talk you through it. So going through the triple diamond on journey level means you choose a journey that needs improvement. So business result is unmet, or there's a customer problem. Then you start discovering what is the problem really, and to scope where does my journey need to start and where does it need to end for me to solve the problem. And then you do your customer research, you talk to your customers, and you map a journey to define what is the experience today, where are the real problems. And based on that, you start looking into what should we then create next. So you start defining your opportunities, and brainstorm solutions based on that. And once you have the solutions defined and prioritize which ones should be implemented first, you implement. Don't forget the step. This is where the impact gets out to the customer. And once solutions are implemented, you need to monitor. Did we actually reach the goals that we set in the beginning? Did we make the experience easier like we said we would? Did we reduce the cost, or did we get another result? And journey management is not so different. It's just doing that in a loop and across your journeys. So that is why in step 1, you choose which journey or journeys need improvement through that framework, and you apply the triple diamond process there. And in organizations that are like near the end game, this is comes with a proper governance model, so with the right mandate and responsibilities. Don't worry if you don't have this yet. You don't need it to prove success, and you don't need to do this first thing tomorrow. But in the end, you want to centrally prioritize on which journeys you will be working. And then you want to ship off a few journey teams that are working to improve the journey. So one team might be focusing on becoming a customer, whereas another team might be focusing on receiving a package. They connect then to the executing teams, so the people who are actually implementing the solutions to actually get the impact out to the customer. But the hierarchy should work like this in the end game. And if you have that set up in a good way, there are 3 key benefits. You will maximize the growth of your company, you will reduce costs, and you will future-proof your business. These are 3 really high-level terms. I'll explain them a bit more later. And they come from a Forrester research. So if you want to deep dive more into that, then please visit Forrester to look at that. And the best way to boost the adoption of journey management, if that is what you are trying to do in your organizations, is by proving one of these key benefits. Because the impact of journey management builds up. The impact at scale is the accumulation of all the single journeys managed and how successful you are delivering on those. And since I understand that if you have a journey framework, you can't show success of journey management at scale overnight, I'm going to show you how you approach proving success per journey that you manage, so you can boost adoption of journey management in your organization and make sure that in the end, all your journeys are managed. So I'm going to take you through that story. Without further ado, let's just dive into that. So how do you show impact in each journey managed? This is also exactly how I built the case at our client that you will be able to see afterwards. The first thing I want to mention here is you need to go through the triple diamond, surprise. But don't just do that. Be really intentional to make tangible impacts. And that sounds a bit vague, so I'm going to tell you a bit more about how we think you should do that. The first thing you need to do is step 1. Find a journey that you want to improve. And in this picking a journey, you need to be a bit specific. You need to find a journey with a manageable problem that can be expressed in numbers. And with a manageable problem, I mean that you shouldn't say, I'm going to improve NPS of our entire life cycle. That is not a manageable problem. That's too big. It needs to be somewhat tractable and not intractable. And you need to have a quantifiable problem. This might not always be possible, but if you want to make your success case in your organization, you need to find a journey that has numbers. So for example, the one that I have been working on at our client is one where 5 million customers experienced issues in one journey every year. And then 29% of those customers have had issues when they were trying to solve their issue. So it was issue on issue on issue. And that resulted in 48,000 phone calls to customer service every month, costing the company 1.2 million euros monthly. That is a really it's not rocket science. This is a problem that you want to improve. And I really strongly suggest to find this problem to start proving the benefits of journey management. And I should also say, this is not going to present itself to you on a silver platter. So you find this by talking to business owners, KPI holders, so people who are responsible for KPIs. And by talking to those people, a good place to also look for problems is customer service, because people typically don't call if there's no problem. So try to have a few conversations around your organization with business owners, customer service, and so on, to find where in my journey framework, if you have one, is a fruitful problem for me to solve. And once you have that, make sure you set a crystal clear goal and get it signed off by a sponsor. So, like I said, don't make it too big, but also don't make it too small. So, for example, don't say, I'm going to increase website clicks as a goal. That is a channel goal. That is should be solved by UX design, and they are probably really good at doing that through A/B testing. You need to focus on a problem that's slightly bigger, so that touches upon multiple touch points to make sure that you are tackling the journey level. You need to also not make it too big, like I just said. Don't say, I'm going to improve the entire NPS. You will do that at some point if you manage multiple journeys, but make it a bit smaller first to boost adoption in your organization. And make it an actionable metric, so something you can influence. Then the person who is responsible for the KPI. So if the person is responsible for customer service calls or for the product that you are including in your journey, make sure that they are your ambassadors. So make sure that they are 100% behind you solving your problem, and that they're also telling others that this is important. Like, let them send emails with expressing their interest in this case, and really let them support you to work on this journey. And then when you set the goal of saying, for example, I'm going to reduce customer service costs, repeat that goal in every meeting you have around this journey, because it's not something people can remember by themselves. You need to keep repeating what you are working towards. A little bit more, what type of goals can I then set? I just promised you that I would explain a bit more about what maximizing growth, reduce cost, or future-proof your business means. Because I know that many people working in CX, it's not always that specific what you are actually working towards, but you can specify this. So here's a list of what you are actually contributing to by creating better experiences. So you will make sure that customers stay, so you will have loyal customers. You will make sure that you get more new customers if your service is interesting. You might have less customer service calls, or it might become cheaper to deliver the experience if you do it right. Or you can future-proof your business, and that means you can work on a better brand reputation, make the journey more sustainable, or make sure that you reduce risk in a certain journeys. All of these goals are possible. Take this one with you and try and go around and talk to people in your organization to find a goal that can be expressed in numbers. Because once you have that, you have a sponsored problem. So a problem that is owned by a few business owners or people that find it important in your organization. You basically created a sense of urgency to change. Because people don't, if you come around and say, I want to try a new way of working, then people will say, why? What we do is just fine. But now you show them, hey guys, we need to start working on a journey level like this. And we need to start managing journeys because we have a problem and I know how to fix it. So then you go and set up a team around you. So set up a temporary governance structure for the journey you're tackling. We understand that you cannot just flip the organization on the side and create a new governance model overnight. So temporarily for this journey, create a central CX team. The people that own the methodology, so the way you want to work, and the journey framework. That might be you if you accidentally also already created the framework, then it might be you who is also the owner for it now. So you're also the one picking the journey for now, based on the metric. Then you need to gather a journey team, so people you're going to map the journey with. And finally, you need to assign who is going to make sure that the solutions are being properly designed and implemented. So when you start, make sure you have a view on these three. A bit more about setting up the proper journey team. I have seen organizations that try to map a journey with including 5 touch points, and then they only had the responsibles for 1 touch point at the table. That's not possible. You need to make sure that the responsibilities are divided across the journey. So if you find out where the actual customer problem is, you can actually influence that part of the journey because you have that person at the table. This is an example of a university that I've worked with. I still work with, and they are now mapping their entire student life cycle. It wouldn't make sense to just do that with the communication team. You need a representation of the responsibilities across the journey so people get aligned and you can influence the journey where it's really needed from the customer perspective. So gather a team like this to make sure you can create already support to implement stuff later. These might also be the people that can give you access to IT backlogs, make sure that your solutions will get prioritized. Then you go into the mapping part of the journey, where I'm not going to deep dive into how you map a journey. If you would like to know more, at Essense, we have a very nice webinar and some articles about it. TheyDo has some good articles. What you do need to do if you want to show impact is include metrics. This is not something that we've been doing for 12 years already in the service design practice. It's quite new, but it's important because then you connect the goals you set to the journey you created. So also because we understand that you cannot integrate the metrics, like have this integration live in TheyDo overnight. If you already have TheyDo, you can do this manually. You can even do it in Miro if you don't have TheyDo yet, but make sure to show where the conversion rate is in your journey or how it's performing. And then when you are prioritizing opportunities, make sure to actually prioritize them based on the impact you want to make. So what impact do you want to make on the customer, and what impact do you want to make on the business, and which opportunities and solutions will help me to reach these goals the fastest way. So that might mean that you need to pick a few solutions that are not that high in effort, that are not going to take years to develop, but it's fine to have both. But it's important to really use this access to think of how you want to prioritize your solutions to get to measurable impact. And then this is when, at least for me, I'm a service designer, where my job used to stop. Then I used to give it to hand over the journey and the solution work to the product teams, and they would run off with it, or they wouldn't. But in this case, and I also know Ting from TheyDo wrote an excellent article about this, embrace your shifting role from just being a designer of it to actually drive the implementation. And there's a simple reason why. You're the one that wants to have the business case and the success story. So if nothing gets implemented, you can never prove success. So whatever skill set you have, use it to drive implementation. So I have been helping product teams to build excellent slide decks because I was good at making slides from being a designer, to make sure that they could sell it to their IT bosses. I have also been facilitating plenty of blueprinting sessions about really technical things to make sure that teams can continue with the implementation. So be thorough and keep following up on if the solutions are being implemented. You need to fight for that right to get in on top of the priority. And then once you nail that, this is when the magic happens. Then you need to see if we actually reach our goals. And it's funny, I was almost thinking not to mention this, but our customers forget it. So don't forget to look at if your hard work worked. You put in a lot of effort so far, I'm sure of it. Check out, TheyDo, of course, has this wonderful way of showing when the solution went live and then how the data is changing. Keep checking this out and don't wait until 5 big solutions are implemented. Check out after 1 solution, how is it going? Is it changing already? Should we make some different decisions? So you can really get this journey management in. So really managing the experience in a journey. And that is also how you get your success story out. So you need to continue implementing stuff until you have the data the way you want it to be. And that is when you create your success case, and then you need to be vocal. So this is also out of a comfort zone for some of you, or many people at least, but this is what you really need to be. And you should be, because you should be proud that you have created an incredible success, and you need to tell everyone about it to boost adoption of journey management in your organizations. You need to tell leadership what you need if you want to do this 20 times. So I'm quite sure that they will be interested if you help them to reduce costs, maximize growth, or future-proof their business. So they will be interested in you, and you telling them what you need to do this, not for one journey, but for 15 journeys and all the time. So you need mandates to centrally prioritize which journeys will be picked up. You don't need to reorganize instantly, or maybe even. You can also do this in the form of a program, or by yourself if you're a smaller organization. You might want a tool to keep an overview of all journeys and to make sure that the metrics are automated. You need space in IT backlog, so the solutions you come up with are actually being implemented and not just end up in a drawer. And you need capacity and capability to manage journeys. So you need people who can facilitate this triple diamond process, but also make sure that the journeys can be monitored. You might need some other things too to scale journey management in your organization. That is, of course, all tailored. But it's really important that once you have success, don't be too shy about it. Like, really tell people what you did and then inspire them to do more of it. I really hope that by talking to you like this, that that you really feel inspired to start doing this yourself, to start thinking about what journey you can pick up to start proving how successful your work is. But maybe without further ado, let me just wrap up by saying journey mapping was never the end game. It was just a start.
Great. Thank you, Lucy, for that recording. I also saw that it sparked some interesting discussions in the chat, and we already have some questions. So thank you already, everybody, for dropping those. Lucy, let me just move to some of the questions. I have a question from somebody asking if there's any best practices that we can share on how to prioritize improving the experience versus driving revenue in the organization. And additionally, how we can link the CX successes to financial growth in the company to demonstrate the value of the program that we're building. Do you have any ideas around that? Maybe?
Yeah, and thanks so much for that question, because it's so relevant for all of us trying to scale journey management and being customer-centric. And I think my main point would be not to separate the two, because I think by delivering great CX, you are delivering business results. So I would say make sure that you can show by improving CSAT, so making it easier or like making customers more satisfied. You will also make sure that they stay and they stay loyal, so you will increase revenue. So I would say whatever journey you pick up, have a CX goal and a business goal, and make sure that they always are connected to each other. So people don't see CX as something next to business. CX is business. So I would really say to do that for the first question. And then your second question was?
Exactly. In the second additional question was how to link the successes within customer experience to the financial growth metrics to demonstrate the success. But it's in part what you've already said. It's making sure that you have both those CX metrics and perhaps revenue metrics attached to the same journey, so you can keep on monitoring the impact of the work that you're doing.
Exactly.
That would be, yeah, our advice. Great.
Yeah.
I hope we answered that question. We had a specific question for you as well, Lucy, coming from Zubair. Any suggestions for how to collect and maintain the metrics for each journey? How many do you typically pick for each journey and step? How do we go about that?
Yeah, another good question, because I know that metrics is not the easiest to implement in journeys. So I would also say pick as many as is needed, right? Don't just plot the metrics as you go just for doing it. It depends a little bit on the level you are tackling the journey on. So I don't know if some of you are familiar with the terms macro level journeys and micro level journeys, or maybe even life cycle journeys. So university that I work for, where we map the entire life cycle, we have many goals and metrics across this life cycle. It's a long journey, right? But if it's a micro journey, for example, I order a package, then one metric might be enough. So one metric to indicate business performance and one metric to indicate CX performance is definitely good. And to set that up properly, you need a CX monitoring system, which is a whole topic in itself, but you need to decide what you want to measure across all journeys. You want to measure effectiveness, how satisfaction, a certain emotion. You need to decide that on company level.
Yeah. I want to add there that especially for those organizations that have a habit of measuring a lot, which is a good habit. I mean, it's best to have a lot of data around, but it can be a bit overwhelming to choose a few key metrics that are important to that journey and to not lose yourself in adding metrics to every single step. Keep it simple, start with those metrics that you want to move the needle from moving forward, and then you can always expand later as you progress. Okay. Camilla would like to know that when working with a triple diamond, is there a step to ensure that the concepts or prioritization take brand values and other strategy into account? It's a good question. I can definitely respond to that. There is a way of ensuring that it's as you're moving through the diamond and you're working with the teams on prioritizing the opportunities to work on, for example, that you've identified in a journey. Within TheyDo, but even outside of TheyDo, in your ritual around this prioritization, it's important to collectively agree on what those parameters are to prioritize. And if brand value or other strategic measures are important, to find a way to integrate that into your prioritization or into your scoring mechanism. So a lot of companies typically use business and customer value, for example, as scoring parameters. But I also have a few examples of customers that tie it to exactly brand values, for example, or part of their mission statement to evaluate an opportunity against the mission statement to make sure that it aligns to it. So there are definitely ways of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question from Bas Tielemans asking, pulling people into your temporary team and therefore cutting them out of their regular silo. Can that be a solution for the herding cats issue? Yeah, so there was an interesting discussion going on in the chat about making sure that people follow up on the work that you've identified, making sure that the solutions that you want to implement actually get implemented. So his question is it an idea to pull people into a temporary team, and should the team ideally be temporary or permanent?
Good question.
Yeah.
The herding cat situation is definitely recognizable for everyone in this chat and in this call. I recognize it. I definitely think that, to prove impact in the journey, you probably need to work across teams, because teams are typically organized around products. So it works to have this temporary structure. And there's a reason why I said that it shouldn't be permanent in the beginning, because it's going to make your job harder to get a permanent team from the start. So it's fine if you just get a few people from teams and collect them just for this project. But of course, that should be a springboard for you once you've proven your impact to say, hey guys, we should center around journeys and not around our products, and make sure that these kinds of teams become permanent. And then maybe for the herding cats situation, what I really recommend is to keep repeating the goal and also to keep communicating why this goal is important for each individual in your room. Because they're also there because they want to get to their next promotion in the end, or maybe they want to be seen or make some real impact. Make sure that you keep communicating what you are working towards. And it's not just your hobby projects, it's actually a business goal that you're jointly tackling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not unimaginable that after a certain while, the organization will restructure some of its processes around this new way of working, and maybe teams will become multidisciplinary teams that work around journeys. But that's something that you'll discover as you move along. But I agree with your approach that maybe we should start with a temporary team, book the first successes, and then take it from there. Martina had a question about how to connect business architecture and value streams to customer journeys. Do you have any experience with that, Lucy?
Yeah, so I think like value streams and business architectures are different in every organization, right? But what I think is what we can say is that they're not always sufficient to contribute in the most effective way to delivering the right journey. So also in the start of my story, I said everyone is trying from the value stream or from the business architecture to work customer-centric, but because they're not doing it from the customer's point of view, it's not always resulted in a smooth experience. So I would say if you want to start journey management and connect it to the value streams or the business architecture, make sure you understand what their KPIs are and what is on the top of their priority list, and move along with that priority to make sure if they need to increase conversion, join them, but just with another approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have anything to add to that. Fantastic response. Then we have Nina, who would like to understand more about the selection of the first journeys and defining a journey hierarchy, which is an excellent question and a question that we get asked a lot. So you're definitely not alone, Nina. There's a lot of different ways of tackling this. Usually what I tell my customers is you need to have some of the groundwork already done. So think big, think about how you would like to scale eventually, set up a good structure, build out a few journey templates for your macro and your micro journeys, think about your taxonomy. But then we would urge you to get started with one or a few journeys already. And when selecting those first journeys, there's a few things that you can consider. Maybe there's organizational goals or KPIs that are focused on at the moment that you can tie to a journey that's relevant, which would make it a very relevant journey for the rest of the organization. So getting buy-in and getting access to resources might be easier if you're tying it to an existing organizational goal, for example. Another approach would be to look at, just like you said in your presentation, Lucy, is to look at a certain part of your organization where both the customer and the organization are feeling pain, for example. Is there an issue that a lot of your customers struggle with and that also has an impact on how your organization works? For example, with a lot of incoming calls, support calls that your team need to handle. That would be a good place to start with the first journey as well, because it's something that you can measure and you can impact. Anything you'd like to add there, Lucy?
Yeah, and I can imagine that if you want to, for yourself, make a first sketch of the life cycle that your customers can have in your organization. Not to say that you should nail the journey framework from the beginning, but it does help to think, okay, what does the customer in my organization experience from beginning to end, to see where in the potential framework that you might be building later on, or if that you have already built, you are playing and trying to make the impact. That can really help. Yeah.
Okay, great. Are there any great resources, like practical resources on customer journey mapping and management that we would recommend? Davis wants to know. Courses or books or articles. I'm always happy to refer customers to our resources page on our website. We have a lot of relevant information there. But Lucy, maybe from your experience, anything that you'd like to share?
It is tricky because it's quite a kind of a new field. I know that there's about to be, when I studied my master's service design, I had this book, This is Service Design Doing, and I think now they're shortly releasing a book, This is Journey Management Doing, maybe. I don't know what the exact title would be. So I'm personally looking forward to that one, but there are not too many books. I guess there are a lot of events for those of you that live in the Netherlands to join live. We have roundtables at Essense where we gather people from the industry to share knowledge. We also record them in webinars, so you're of course also welcome to join them. And then I would mostly look for a few very influential people on LinkedIn that share some articles, like Ting Ting, your colleague, but there are many people like her that share a lot of best practices in this very new field, right? So I would recommend to mostly look at LinkedIn.
Nice. And I see that Esa also posted some nice resources in the chat. Thank you, Esa. Always happy to have you. I see that I missed the question. Somebody wanted to know if we can go into more detail on how we, I think, build out groups for focusing, prioritization, and execution. So what would our recommendations be to go into regular intake processes with IT continuous improvement? I think the question is, how would we go about building out these different groups that need to be involved, these different stakeholder groups?
Yeah, so I think for the journey team, you need to be connected to the sponsor. Also, that's why it's so important, because the sponsor probably also has access to the members that you need for your journey. So that is one really important person to get on board first. But also, and I didn't say this as much as I should have maybe, it's important to include the people who need to implement the solution. So if that is IT teams or customer service process managers, I don't mind who it is. Include them early on when you are brainstorming, when you are prioritizing, so they feel like they are owners of the solutions, and they also become your ambassadors too. So you really need to build your ambassadors day by day, and then also keep chasing them. I know it's not the most fun thing to do for everyone, but it does help, because if your enthusiasm it's contagious, right? So others might jump on board with you because you're enthusiastic about something. You have a clear goal, and they're your ambassadors.
Yeah. And it might feel overwhelming to do this with the entire organization at once, which is why I fully agree. It's very important to find your ambassadors, the people that are very excited to get started with this, build out a few success cases with them, and then use them as a showcase in the rest of the organization to show the potential benefits of adopting this way of working. And then gradually we can roll out. There was a question about if TheyDo has a webinar on how to automate CX data into journeys. I believe there has been a webinar not too long ago about how to work with CX data in our journeys. But if there's a specific question on how to automate, I would be happy to pick that up. So Neil, feel free to reach out to me or anybody else on our team. I would be happy to walk you through that. I think that's all of the questions. If we misunderstood any questions or if we missed anything, feel free to let us know after the webinar via mail. Lucy, thank you again for joining and for the recording. It was great having you. Yeah, and thank you everybody for joining. Have a great rest of your day or evening, depending on where you're calling in from. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Feel free to connect. Thanks, Ellen.
Bye.
Bye.